The NBA has officially introduced their new in-season tournament. A big time soccer kind of imitation, a thing a lot of NBA fans don't seem to understand yet. So, in this episode, I'm going to be breaking down what the in season tournament really is, how it's going to work, and how the Clippers group affects their standing in it. And also, going to be giving a brief update on James Harden. Going to be talking about all that on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You are locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team, every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA and going into my 19th season as a Clipper fan in the fall. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod, and of course, subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA sports, LA Clipper, and NBA content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available on all your favorite podcast platforms, including YouTube, where I want you to tell me what you think of the in-season tournament. So let's get into that right away. Going to explain it. Then we're going to talk about the Clippers group and give a brief update on James Harden in the final segment. But let's get into what this in-season tournament is and why it was a thing, right? So the regular season, let's not mince words here, has not really been that great compared to the past lately, and I think there's a lot of reasons to it. But let's just say, to summarize, it's not prioritized the same way anymore. And look no further than our very own LA Clippers last season, in the sense of how cautious they were and how they didn't prioritize it, and how after the end of the season, Lawrence Frank said that we need to take it more seriously. We need to respect it more. So Adam Silver realizes that the interest in the regular season, with all the load management, with all the, I don't even know what to say. I mean, games just not holding the same value, let's put it that way, or the same weight, wants to spruce up the regular season. So by doing that, he is adding a new moneymaker for him. And we've been talking about this for a while, but the NBA is trying to take things from soccer, because soccer or international football is the biggest sport in the world, makes the most money, has the most viewers, whatever. They want to bring something like that into our game. Now, here's the thing, right? The best comparison I can make as a soccer fan that I am is, let's just use England, for example. This is like the FA Cup or the Capital One Cup. This is a domestic cup competition. So it's not like the Champions League. A lot of people are trying to say, oh, this is like the Champions League of Europe and of soccer. The Champions League is contested by different teams in different countries. That's how you get Barcelona playing against Arsenal. You know what I'm saying? So that would be like if Real Madrid basketball would be playing against the Dallas Mavericks, and like Luka was playing against his former team from Real Madrid. That's not what this is. This is a domestic cup. So it's kind of like the FA Cup, but again, the reason why that's a big thing is it's contested by teams from the lower divisions of English soccer, the lower pyramid. So that's like if we had G League teams involved, which would be hilarious, but that's just not how this works. So again, there's no real true equivalent to this in soccer. But Adam Silver wants something that resembles like the Champions League, where you have midweek games that stand for something else. Now, here's the thing about it. Now I'm going to explain the rules. The games, let's divide how teams got put into groups. So this group stage thing and then a knockout stage, that's straight out of soccer. That's, World Cup, every cup competition of soccer, that's what it is. So this is how they decided, and this is, again, straight out of soccer as well. You put different teams that are different levels of skill in different pots. So pot one for the NBA, it was the teams with the three best prior season records in a conference. That would be the Celtics, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Sixers, who were the top three in the East this year, and then in the West, the Grizzlies, the Nuggets, or the Kings. Now, the second pot were the teams with the fourth through sixth best prior season records. So that would be the Phoenix Suns, the Golden State Warriors, the Brooklyn Nets, the New York Knicks, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and of course, your LA Clippers, and then so on and so forth. Now, before we get into the group that the Clippers got into, I'm not going to talk about that till segment 2, but here's how it's going to work, right? So apparently the tournament nights will take place every Tuesday and Friday from November 3rd to November 28th. So in the month of November, games that are on Tuesdays and Fridays will be games between teams in the same groups as one another. Now, where those games are, I do not know. However, they are saying that they're going to be regular season games. So they're going to be home for some team and away for the other. Now, if you're wondering, what if a team has more home games than the other? I don't think that's going to be the case. Based on the fact that there are 5 teams in each group, that means that each team will play 4 group games, and I'm assuming that 2 of those will be at home and 2 of those will be on the road. So it won't really affect that. Now, granted, playing Denver on the road as opposed to playing them at home is a huge difference and a better chance for you to win. So there is some luck of the draw involved in this, and depending on if you win your group games and are able to advance to the knockout. How do you advance to the knockout? Well, in European soccer, what they always do is the top 2 teams from each group advance to the knockout stage. And then if you need more teams to fill out that round of 16 or that quarterfinals, you get a couple of the closest finishing third place teams in the group. But based on the fact that there are 30 teams in the NBA and they only want to have a quarterfinal round, no round of 16, that means only 8 teams of the 30 are going to advance. So the rules say that the teams with the 6 best records in the group stage will be in the knockout stage, and then the 2 other teams will be one wild card from each conference. So the conferences or this knockout tournament, it starts with teams competing against the same conference. So the group stages, there are no East teams mixed in with West because of obviously travel and stuff, and I think they want to make it so that, there's kind of a winner of the West bracket and a winner of the East bracket. Or I'm not actually sure about that. I think there may be a random draw once the final 8 teams are announced. But the West has 3 groups of 5, and the East also have 3 groups of 5. So there'll be one wild card that has the next best record besides the top 6 teams that will complete the quarterfinal teams, or the 8 teams that will be contesting in the quarterfinals. That will happen in December. Now, you might be wondering, what if there's a bunch of teams tied with 3-1 record or 2-2 record? Great question. The tiebreakers are as follows. In the event 2 or more teams are tied within a group, the tie among the teams will be broken according to the following tiebreakers. First, your head-to-head record in the group stage. Who won the matchup? Then your point differential in the group stage, very similar to goal differential in soccer. So whoever won by a bigger point, basically your net rating essentially. And then your third, total, if those 2 items are tied, total points scored in the group stage. So, and then the fourth, if all those 3 things are tied, which again, they won't be, you won't have the exact same amount of point difference, I don't think. I think that'll be, you might very well have actually no, head-to-head record is the first one, right? And you only play each other once. So I guess, yeah, you would have the tiebreaker right then and there. But I think there could be a sense of like a 3-way tie where one team's beating one team and the other team's beating another, and then it gets wonky. So then you'll have the point differential and all that. But anyways, in the event 2 or more teams are tied for the wild card in a conference, the tie among the teams will be broken by following the same protocol as I just described. So there you go. Anyway, so it sounds a little interesting. It sounds like we're going to take a while to get used to it. We'll see how much it grows on us. But the knockout stages, in the quarterfinals, they said it would just be a home game for whoever the team was that had a better record in the group stage. So it'll be a home team for whoever has earned that. They said the semifinals and the final are going to be in a neutral location, but every single game of this tournament counts for your regular season record except for the championship. And all the stats count except for the championship. And at the end of the tournament, they're going to be naming an MVP of the tournament, an all-tournament team, and obviously the winners will get $500,000 each. But I know that's a lot to process, right? A lot to process. But yeah, so when the teams are in the knockout stages, the other 22 teams apparently will be playing 2 games against one another, probably a cross-country kind of thing to just get those out the way. But it should be fairly interesting. As I said, teams that will win will in the quarterfinals will progress to the neutral site semifinals on December 7th, 2023, then the chip on December 9th, likely in Vegas if they haven't already announced it. But so the 2 teams that contest in the championship game are going to be playing 83 regular season games, which again is not what I believe is right, because I think we should only be looking to reduce these games, because load management is a serious issue in the league, and it's part of the reason why he's doing this, why he wants to make a tournament to spruce up these regular season games, because it's been dull the last couple of years. It really has been. But anyway, I hope I let you understand the in-season tournament better there. Everything counts in the regular season except for the final if you're lucky enough to get there. So that only matters for 2 teams. Everyone else, it's just going to be games that are labeled tournament games, but they're still regular season games. Still the stats count and all that. Now the question is, are those games going to be more hyped up, like the crowd and stuff, more than just your average game in a December night? And granted, they picked a good time to do the in-season tournament, because that's the dullest part of the season. Like right after the first month where everybody's like, okay, let's see what these teams look like. When you get to December and January, right before the All-Star break, that's kind of the dull part of the season. So they picked the right time. But coming up, going to be looking at the Clippers group. Who do we have in our group? Do we have a good chance of advancing? We are in the second pot, so we should be the second favorite to come out of it. Going to be talking about that coming up. I got to tell you a little something about Bird Dogs, the best leg wear around. Bird Dogs make you look good, because they stretch khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. And Bird Dog shorts do the exact same thing as Lululemon, but fit way better. They fit way better than regular shorts that are made of a stiff, restricting cotton. And Bird Dogs fixed that issue by inventing cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki, but stretches so you get a way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice movement. Bird Dogs uses anti-stink sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. Bird Dogs can be used when you are just out watering your garden or going for a walk, and it can also be used in athletic activity. They are that versatile as leg wear. Just go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA or enter the promo code LockedOnNBA for a free Yeti-style tumbler. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA or promo code LockedOnNBA for a free Yeti-style tumbler. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off. We promise you. Woo! 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 All right. It's time to talk about our group. Now, it is not the easiest group in the world. We've got the Dallas Mavericks, the Houston Rockets, the New Orleans Pelicans, and the Denver Nuggets. I know what you're thinking. Besides Houston, those all seem like Clipper killers. Now, let's just start with the first thing, right? The Denver Nuggets are the defending champs. We got the best team in the league in our group. So, the chances of us being the number 1 team in it, I don't know if they're that strong. And my question is this: are teams going to load manage these games? I'd assume they're going to play hard, because the whole point is to incentivize going hard in the regular season and to play for a trophy. It is still going to be a trophy. That'd be funny if the Clippers won the in-season tournament. We'd get clowned so much, but it would still be great to win something. We've never won anything, so besides division titles. I honestly think division titles mean more than this in-season tournament nonsense. But I don't know. We'll just see. I'd have to wait and see, but Denver's going to be a tough customer, as we know. They're the Clippers' kryptonite, and it's going to be very tough to knock them off. Let's just say we lose to Denver, though, right? Let's just say that one game we take an L. If we win, hypothetically, the other 3 games, New Orleans, Dallas, and Houston, which, again, I think going into this season, even if we're running it back and people might not be too high on that, if we have a healthy Kawhi and Paul George, we are the second best team in that group. I think that's pretty obvious, at least to me. Maybe it's because I'm a biased Clipper fan, but we should be better than New Orleans, Dallas, and Houston. Does that guarantee 3 wins? Not by any stretch. Now, the question is, will the Clippers have all their players healthy in these games? Are they going to get injured? Are they going to be load managing? I don't know. So there's a chance this tournament just gets valued by the players and the organizations themselves. But let's just, for the sake of talking about it on this episode, say that we're going to go hard and we're healthy for all the games. We can go 3-1. I know that part of it depends on where the games are. Like if we're playing New Orleans on the road, that's going to be tough. If we're playing Luka on the road, that's going to be tough. Houston, we should win regardless. But then on the flip side of that coin, if we're playing Denver at Staples Center and we are, get a nice crowd for it, everybody's excited. Because here's the thing, bringing Denver to town, that would likely be Reggie Jackson's return, one, which is going to be an emotional night for Clipper fans regardless. Secondly, you're bringing the NBA champions to town. Denver's going to have a target on their back that their franchise has never seen before this upcoming season. And based on the fact that the Clippers are, we as Clipper fans know that Denver's had our number since the bubble. If we have a home game against them in this tournament and we win, that gives us a chance to really get out of it. And then, of course, if we make the quarterfinals and whatnot, I mean, that's amazing. But what really is kind of what's the standout about this group is that there's a couple of teams in here that we just don't match up well against. Denver being the obvious one, but New Orleans, I mean, we've really struggled against these guys, whether Zion has played or not. I mean, we lost 2 games to them this season, right? We lost the game where Kawhi got hurt late in the season, where they were just murking us. Trey Murphy played like Ray Allen that game. I went to it. You can catch the vlog on my channel, Dime Dropper. And then we had the game where Ingram and Kawhi were going back and forth with one another. It was a great game. And then there was the game early in the season without Kawhi where Paul George just was in a funk early on in the season on that Sunday afternoon. So I don't even remember us playing them a 4th time in New Orleans, but we were 0-3 against them. And with Zion the year in 2021, we were not much better. In 2022, they eliminated us in the play-in, but we blew them out in a game before that, actually. But then there was another game where Jonas Valanciunas that season at Staples Center that I also went to turned into Dirk. So New Orleans, they've had our number as well. So that's going to be a tough game, regardless of if Zion's playing or not. And then you have Dallas, who always gives us a tough time, but we always seem to beat them when Kawhi is healthy. So I'm not as concerned about Dallas. But then again, it's teams the Clippers have some, I don't want to say bad blood, but some history against. And it's not history that makes us say, oh, we got him. So it's going to be a tough group, ladies and gentlemen. And it's a long ways away. And I think we just got to take it a game at a time. I think what we're doing in that actual regular season at the time is much more important than this in-season tournament. I think we just got to take it a game at a time and not overvalue it. Anyway, but that's it for the in-season tournament, guys. Coming up, going to be talking about a James Harden update on his status of whether he is going to be a Clipper or not. Going to be talking about that coming up. This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. And there have been so many times, even now, where I feel uncertain about so many things in life and what the right path is and where I'm going to go next. And at times in life, we're faced with tough choices, and the path forward isn't always clear. And it doesn't matter if you're dealing with a relationship thing or, something your parents are going through, a family matter. Sometimes you just need to talk to someone, a licensed therapist. And at BetterHelp, there is no better place to find that person for you. Because trusting yourself to make decisions that align with your values is like anything. The more you practice it, the easier it gets. And sometimes you need someone to help guide you into that right direction. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Let therapy be your map with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, so to close out, it's time to briefly talk about a James Harden update. And recently, Dave McMenamin came out and said that it looks like James Harden will be starting the season with the Philadelphia 76ers again. Because clearly, and he wants to come to the Clippers, that's been confirmed. Clearly, the packages that Daryl Morey was hearing didn't really excite him. And I can't blame him. I talked about it on this show. I'm sorry. Even though Terrence Mann is our guy, Terrence Mann, Norman Powell, and Marcus Morris for a guy that was just averaging 20 and 10 is not going to make you say, oh, that's going to help Joel Embiid and the Sixers break their 22-year conference finals drought. It's not. So why would you do that? Why would you jump at that package just because that's what James Harden, Mr. Disgruntled Star, wants to do? Why should the Sixers cater to him? He hasn't even been a Sixer for 2 full seasons. So don't expect James Harden to be a Clipper anytime soon. I think that we saw what Daryl Morey did with Ben Simmons, right? He was willing to hang on to him half the season, and he still got a great trade, a trade that they won by getting James Harden. The Nets have not really seen anything from Ben Simmons. So he played hardball with Simmons, and he won. He clearly believes he can do a similar thing with Harden. And I'm okay with it because, again, I said I don't want Harden. I want nothing to do with him. That's just my personal preference. I know Clipper fans don't always agree. I still believe, though, that there is a consolidation trade coming with the Clippers in regards to Marcus Morris and the power forwards because there's so many of them right now. But I don't know if that's going to be for James Harden. And you know what? The reason I'm most happy is because I just don't want to lose Terrence Mann. I mean, there's so many basketball things he brings. But even if you think I overvalue him, you can call me a fool. A lot of you guys in the comments are extremely emotional about Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and Russell Westbrook. Some of you guys are so bad you just send personal attacks to each other about Westbrook and various players. I try not to do that. But if I had to pick one player that I would never want to see leave this team, it's Terrence Mann. We drafted him. I have my own personal story with him. And he gave me one of the best memories of my life. Like, he's a hero in Clipperland. And I think that's the people that are stands of Kawhi or Westbrook or Paul George don't seem to freaking understand. So, yes, it's emotional, but I also don't think bringing in Harden and losing Terrence Mann and Norman Powell will make our team better in the long run. Will it make us better in the regular season? I think so. Will it make us a better chance to win the championship? Will it give us a better chance to win it all? I don't think so, because James Harden has not shown that, and I also think it devalues what Russ brings to the table, and it's going to make him upset. People are like, you want to value Russ over the team? It's correlated. You want your players to be satisfied. That's why we got Russ, because Paul George was complaining. So you need your players to buy in. If you think the Clippers players are such divas and all that, we got to do all these different things, ship them out and blow this damn thing up. Because, I don't know what you guys want. And I'm only speaking to a small subsection, obviously. But the point is, I believe that staying put and not going for Harden is the best move for the Clippers. I think that it's all about health, right? I think if you really believe in this team and you believe in Kawhi and you believe in Paul George, all we need is some good luck with health. That's the running it back approach. And listen, having Russell Westbrook to start the season instead of Reggie Jackson and having a backup center in Mason Plumlee as opposed to Moses Brown or no backup center and potentially no Marcus Morris will be huge. Not to mention if Kawhi is ready from opening night, like he basically didn't play the first 20 games last year. It will be a huge difference. So we got to hope that that's what's going to happen. But that's what I think. In-season tournament, explained our group. It's a tough one. And James Harden, let me know what you thought of the episode. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper NBA history content. I've been doing a lot of history work this offseason, and I really appreciate you tuned in. And, of course, you got to tune in to Locked On Clippers and hit the notification bell so you know every single time I'm going to post a video. Because we're trying to, and of course, did I say subscribe? I think I did. Please do, because we're trying to catch up on some of these other NBA teams and show them that Clipper Nation is the fan base. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers. And also, thanks for making Locked On Clippers your first listen every day. Every dayers tomorrow on the show. Going to be talking about our game against the Grizzlies in the Summer League, our third game. Let's see how it goes. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers.